what Netanyahu basically did by preemptively attacking Iran was he finally united the country. Now all of them are united saying we need to attack back. Make no mistake about it, guys. A lot of people don't like Khomeini. However, now they're forced to support him because they hate Israel more. They're putting their political differences aside and uniting under one banner to attack the Israelis. And that is why the Iranians have finally been able to hit Israel back so fucking hard. The intent with the Israelis, guys, right, with, attacking Iran, conducting this operation, etc., they were hoping, because you guys got to understand that the Israelis want regime change, okay? They want Khomeini out of there, right? Because Iran is really the only country in the Middle East that's standing up to Israel's expansion project. So when the Israelis launched their attack several days ago, the goal was to disorient, confuse, strike, and then hope that the people of Iran, from their many years of sanctions, their many years of government abuse, would lead an uprising, okay, and destabilize the regime. Now, I spoke with someone who's Iranian, and he kind of explained this to me, okay, the dynamic in Iran right now, which I thought was very interesting, and I kind of want to share with you guys, right? And the reason why I want to share this with you guys is because it kind of gives insight as to Iranian politics and foreign policy so that we can kind of better understand why they're doing some of the things that they're doing, right? So for this to make better sense, we got to understand kind of what's been going on, okay? Now, and I'll show you guys this on my thing as well, because I did talk about this on my page. So let me go ahead. Let me find this for you guys real quick, because I listed out all the escalations. Okay. So Iran, right, guys? There was several provocations. Shout out to Apex Abraham with the 25 gifted subs and TPC Film with the 10 gifted, man. Thank you guys so much, bro. Thank you guys so much for the support, man. I really appreciate that. The best way to help the channel is to jump into OSS. I want to get it to a point where we got thousands of you guys in there watching the stream live from the OSS. So I really appreciate you guys. I really do, man. And I'm going to continue to keep working hard for you guys and give you guys the best fucking content when it comes to this stuff, whether it's true crime, cultural, foreign policy, etc. But anyway, let's kind of get into the situation. So over the last year, right, since October 7th, Israel has been attacking and or provoking or instigating a response from Iran, right? And there were several instances where Israel conducted military operations that would be declared as an act of war. Here are some of them that I outlined. April 1st, 2024, Iranian embassy bombed in Damascus, Syria, killing several high-ranking military officials. July 30th, 2024, ally and Lebanese military leader Fouad Shukr was assassinated. July 31st, ally and Hamas leader Esma Haniyeh, who was the chief negotiator for Hamas, assassinated in Tehran, Iran. Not only did they assassinate him when he was there on an official visit for the president's inauguration. Okay? Incredibly embarrassing. Think about this. You go to your friend's house, right? And your op shows up at your friend's house and kills you there. Obviously, people are going to say, what the fuck? Did they set you up? So this was incredibly embarrassing for the Iranian government, right? September 27, 2024, Ali and Hezbollah head Hassan Nasrallah was assassinated in Beirut. October 26, 2024, Israel bombed military bases in Iran, right? But that all stopped on 6/12. As you guys know, Israel launched their surprise attack, Operation Rising Lion, where they preemptively attacked Iran while they were in the middle of negotiations with the United States. They caught Iran with their pants down, okay? Now, even right here, Iran's defenses were down since they planned to meet the U.S. within days to negotiate. They attacked them, I think, on a Thursday. They were supposed to meet with the Americans on a Sunday in Oman, and it was a huge tactical error for Iran. During Israel's first day of the operation, they successfully assassinated several military commanders and nuclear scientists due to a clandestine operation within Iran. So Mossad assets were in Iran and launched drones from within the country to do these precise strikes. Incredible. Like I said before, I'm extremely critical of Israel, but one of the things that they do fucking good is their intelligence assets are fantastic. They're fucking good, bro. Damn near the top of the line. Then, when they took out their radars, killed their military command, and disabled the military hierarchy, communication, and structure, they were able to launch missiles and destroy some of their capabilities, right? So, obviously, Iran retaliated. Now, I think it's important to note here, guys, that you guys saw all the escalations from before where Iran did very little, and they did not attack Israel back. And the reason for that is because there's a political divide in Iran, okay? Let me explain. In Iran, similar to us with our Republican and Democratic Party, they have a conservative/reformist party. And for many years, there's been battle between the two different factions on either having diplomacy with the West, like the reformists want to do, or saying, no, we can't trust the West. They've backstabbed us before, and not exercising diplomacy, right? And the reformists have been pushing for diplomacy. And the reason why they've been pushing for diplomacy, guys, is because Iran has really bad sanctions right now. The sanctions, right, for those that aren't aware, sanctions basically impede your ability to do business with multiple other countries, which really hurts your country's economy. So they're broke, their dollars in the gutter, and it's very difficult for them to conduct trade. Now, of course, they do things around the side, right? Maybe they use a third party to conduct transactions. You know, they do business with other countries. But the reality is that it's very difficult for them to generate a large amount of revenue because they have a lot of sanctions on them and they're broke, right? And Trump really had hardcore sanctions on them while he was in. When Biden came in, some of those sanctions were relieved a little bit and they were able to build themselves up a bit. But now that Trump is back in, obviously, hard sanctions, all this other shit. That's not really as important. But the thing you need to understand is there's been a big rift in the Iranian government and society because of this two-party worldview where one wants to go ahead and do diplomacy with the West in an effort to save the economy, while the other one says we can't do business with these people, they can't be trusted. What Netanyahu basically did by preemptively attacking Iran was he finally united the country. Okay? I've spoken with several Iranians and I've been researching into this, and that divide in the country was effectively destroyed once Israel attacked Iran. Because now, even the people that are critical of the theocracy, people that are critical of the government, people are critical of the sanctions, people are critical of the lack of diplomacy with the West, now they realize that they can't trust the West. Because not only were they attacked, but they were attacked in the middle of diplomacy with the United States. And it was seen as a duplicitous action to have Iran's guard down and have Israel launch an attack. And not only did they launch the attack in a very aggressive, strategic, and planned out manner. So it led the Iranians to believe that not only did you attack us while we're in the middle of negotiation, you attacked us in a way that is indicative of you planning this for over a year, okay? That's very important to understand, because for Mossad assets to be in Iran, set up a drone shop, identify targets, figure out where these military commanders live, figure out where these nuclear scientists live. That's an enormous amount of intelligence that was gathered, and accurate intelligence. So that means that they have informants on the ground. That means that they've been doing their reconnaissance, and that means that they've been planning this alongside the United States for a long time. So the reformist argument saying that we need to do diplomacy with the West, they were immediately silenced.
Welcome, punch!
Because Netanyahu and Trump's foreign policy made the case for the conservative party in Iran. And by that bad foreign policy conducted by us in Israel, they have now united a once fractured government and society. Now all of them are united saying we need to attack back. As a matter of fact, hours after the attack, last week with Operation Rising Lions on June 12th, Iranians took to the streets and demanded their government retaliate at Israel. Make no mistake about it, guys. A lot of people don't like Khomeini, right? A lot of people don't. However, now they're forced to support him because they hate Israel more. So Why am I telling you guys this? I'm telling you this because this journalist, right, this anchor that was attacked, right? You see here that she went back to another studio within an hour and continued the broadcast. And that's a microcosm of how the Iranian people feel right now during this conflict. They're putting their political differences aside and uniting under one banner to attack the Israelis. And that is why the Iranians have finally been able to hit Israel back so fucking hard. This is very important, chat, because prior to hitting Israel back, they had made limited strikes, very controlled attacks, because the goal, right, before obviously this Rising Lions operation, the goal was they need to hit Israel hard enough where they send a message, but at the same time, they didn't want to hit them hard enough where the United States would enter into the conflict. Because remember, the reformists wanted diplomacy, right? But after this attack, they were like, fuck it, gloves are off. And the reformists finally came alongside and agreed with the conservatives, said, okay, we need to hit them back hard. And that is why you guys are seeing hypersonic missiles. That is why you guys are seeing this bombing campaign. This is why you guys are seeing them destroy military installations, intelligence operations, and destroying buildings. And the Israeli media is purposely arresting journalists that show any of this stuff because they don't want to come off as being attacked and weak. Because Israel is a glass cannon. And not only is Israel a glass cannon, they don't want the damage to show to scare the people off to leave the country. Because as you guys know, Israel was specifically designed to protect the Jewish people. So if they're running and fleeing and they feel less safe, that defeats the purpose of Israel even fucking existing. So that is why they have extreme no journalist laws right now in place in Israel, where people are getting arrested for documenting damage or showing damage or reporting on damage in Tel Aviv or Haifa. Because the Iranians have finally taken the gloves off and are fighting back against Israel because the political ball and chain, so to speak, that's held them back from attacking or reacting aggressively has been lifted because now the country has been united despite political indifferences. So that is why we're seeing the aggressive amounts of missile strikes into Israel that we've never seen before. Give me ones in the chat if that makes sense. I hope I explained that well for you guys. Because, like I said before, this is something we've never seen before and it's unprecedented. But the reason why is because of the political fracture within the Iranian government. And the Israelis and the Americans have basically done their job for them and united the country, unfortunately. So give me ones if that all makes sense, guys. I covered a lot there, but I hope that makes sense for you ninjas. Because this is very important stuff that you're not going to get unless you either live in Iran or know someone. And I got this information from an Iranian that understands geopolitical structure in Iran very closely. And he explained this to me and I was like, okay, now this makes sense. Because I always wondered, bro, they assassinated like a foreign diplomat in your country. Why aren't you guys retaliating? They bombed your embassy in Syria. Why aren't you retaliating? But now it makes sense why they didn't retaliate all this time.